So, hey Pisces, my name is Chris, and this is your beautiful reading for whenever you find it. It's not necessarily time specific, so it is definitively 2026, that's for sure. Because, you know, it's 2026, right? I mean, what do we got? We got the new beginning. We got an old fellow from the old cycle. And we got the Queen of Swords. So this is already starting well. So you're focusing on freeing yourself. You're beginning anew. And the world is full of toxic people. No surprise here, right? You might have noticed in the last few years. A lot of people woke up to the fact that this system is pretty much designed not for you to make it, but for you to die trying to make it. So the Seven of Swords is pretty much the narcissist of the tarot deck, right? And these creatures are still around. But you know what? If you are aware of them, right? If you're not naive about it, and if you're not engaging into their bullshit, if you're not defending, if you're not explaining, if you're not engaging, and if you're not personalizing their stuff, focus on what you want to create. Focus on this entangling you or freeing yourself from their mindfuck energy. And that is all what the Queen of Swords is all about. And there's the Fool card, a new beginning, a new start in that direction. That is, as I said, the narcissist of the tarot deck, so to speak. Swords energy, mindfuck energy, right? The narcissist is always trying to play with guilt, fear, and shame, lower frequency energies. What do we got? Two more. We got the, yeah, that looks good. That's what you want, right? You want to be the King of Wands, and you want to be in this Nine of Cups energy. So you do what you like, you do what you respect, you do what makes sense to you, and you're not easily played. Not easily played, even by your own passions, right? This goes in the line of sexuality, right? Everything that sparks your fire. This could be not just sexuality, but it could be rage, anger, frustration, right? Everything that produces strong emotions. This is toxic. There's work. Okay, finishing something off. Being done with something. That could be another interpretation here. 6, 7. And let's just do 3 more. 7 of Swords, yeah. 7 of Pentacles. And the Hermit. And 9 and another, yeah, standing your ground. It's time to follow your own path and to be more a friend to yourself, I would say, right? So the Knight of Cups is this energy, and you get a lot of Cups energy here. You got the 9 of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Underneath that, there is the Ace of Wands, by the way. So a new beginning, disentangling yourself from mindfuck energy. That's pretty much how you deal with that. You're not engaging with narcissistic people. You're not engaging, you're not offering to stay over time, right? You're not going to the extra hour, right, at work. You're not volunteering to do this and that. You're not attending the company party, something like that, right? This is all extra stuff that nobody pays you for. And, you know, we're getting ripped off left and right anyway. So do not engage that. Do the bare minimum of what you need to do, but don't give someone more. They will just, you know, if you give them their little finger, they will bite off your hand. That's the narcissist, right? And you realize that, you disengage from that BS, and you start anew. You start a new inner consciousness where you're no longer trying to get approval from these people. Toxic people, narcissistic people, people who exploit you. You're standing up to that. There's another 7 here, 7 of Wands. You're not jumping down into the mud with the pigs. You're not, entertaining their BS. You're not, there's another 7 here. You're planting your own seeds. The seeds that are making sense for yourself, and you're working on them. You're nurturing them. Queen of Swords, King of Wands, not being driven by external validation, not being driven by, not being easily manipulated through sexuality or everything that sparks a strong emotion, right? Usually the narcissist wants us to be in a reactive mindset, right? So if you constantly are reacting to whatever trigger somebody is setting, then you're easily manipulated. But if you know your stuff, right? If you are focused on what you want to create for your own life, what makes sense for you, what gives you a good feeling, what makes sense for you, these are the seedlings that you are planting. These are the projects that you are working on with the Hermit in a row. Why? Because these are your projects. You're not, the wage slavery thing is, to some extent necessary to pay the bill. But what are you working on? What is the project in your life, right? Have you planted these seeds? Yes, I think you have. And you know them. So give them loving attention. Work on that. Follow your own light. Attend to your own projects. And this is emphasized here again with the Knight of Cups. Go forward, stand your ground, don't get exploited. Don't allow anybody to play you on guilt, fear, shame, or on strong emotions, right? This is pretty much a couple here with the Queen of Swords and the King of Wands. And then you just begin to give yourself more energy, to give that what is important to you more time and space. And do you need to work 40 hours? Is there a lot of things that you pay for that do not bring you joy and happiness? That's the big question. Maybe you can cut your hours down and still cover the necessaries, the basic necessities, so to speak, right? But do something that gives you joy and happiness in the here and now. Because this promise that if you just work harder, you can make it. I mean, if you haven't realized it, but that's a freaking lie. You can't make it. The system is not designed for you to make it. The system is designed for you to die trying to make it. There's the Empress here. So if you just make sure that your life makes sense for yourself, right? And not just make sense on paper or on your CV or in the eyes of your, probably narcissistic boss, right? I mean, you don't become a boss unless you're some sort of psychopath nowadays, right? There's the Ace of Wands. Follow your passion. Oh my God, there's the Star card. Okay. And there's the Queen of Swords again. Freeing yourself from that perfectionism, right? There's only so and so much that you can do. And eventually you're realizing that it's never enough, right? They are always asking for more. That's the narcissist of the tarot deck. That's the toxic, antagonistic person here. Seven of Swords, you're freeing yourself from that, and you're not arguing with them, right? Standing your ground, but you're standing your ground by upholding your level, your niveau, right? Not jumping down into the muds with the pigs. Do not argue with them. You don't engage, you don't explain, you don't personalize, you don't justify yourself. You just quit their BS. And then you focus on what you want to create and that new beginning. And there's the Fool card clarified by the King of Pentacles. It might not mean that you live in, that you get a yacht and a big car, but you're creating something that makes sense for you. Maybe it's a book that you wanted to write forever, right? Maybe it's half written in your cupboard, right? Maybe it's just doodling and drawing something because it gives you joy in the moment, here and now. That is important. That is not something you should do only on the weekend. This is something that you should do every day because it is your life and it is your God-given divine right to live your life to your highest expression and not just as a fucking wage slave for some psychopaths, right? And if you are in that mindset where you no longer the doormat for some psychopaths, you're going to attract good people who are in the same frequency. Because we're not alone in this. They try to isolate us. But, we're not alone in this. There are billions of people who are in the same frequency, who just are just fed up and don't like this BS anymore, right? So that's the reading. Pisces, it's going to be an interesting summer. That's the summer 2026 reading. Abundance Mandala. Abundance Mandala. Are you kidding me? This shows up again and again. And Abundance Mandala, the King of Pentacles, is here as well. The King of Pentacles shows up as a clarifier to the Fool card. So the King of Pentacles is the king or the master of manifestation, so to speak. So you making something real, you're already kind of in this inner mode. You should already know what you want because you already have planted your seedlings. There's the Two of Wands clarifying the Seven of Pentacles. You already know what you want, where you want to go, and you're protecting that which you are passionately about. And then you're going forward with it and just giving it loving attention. The King of Pentacles shows up as the clarifier for the Fool card, but as the clarifier. The main thing is here that you're working on what makes sense to you. And you can still have a job, right? I'm not saying we should all quit our jobs or something like that, but we should quit the BS jobs. We should quit being wage slaves for psychopaths. Can we just say that? And your happiness is important, and your happiness depends on doing what you want, what you need, and what makes sense to you, what gives you joy and happiness and inner peace in the moment when you do it. And that's not something that you do on a Saturday, right? Because if you do it on a Sunday, you're already feeling like, oh God, I have to go there back tomorrow, right? But no, that's not how life should be, for F's sake, right? And give that more loving attention. And do not, I'm a little, cranky right now, right? You see that? It's a reading that kind of touches me because I have a personal story that is pretty much kind of in resonance with that, right? So, worked my ass off and tried to double down and give 120%. And, there are just people who just take and take and take, and they never give anything back, right? You do something for them, The Devil Wears Prada, right? Right? Something like that. That's a movie, The Devil Wears Prada. They just, you can't appease these people, right? So you just quit these people. Let them be who they are and focus on what you want to create, on your little plants, seedlings basically, and working on what makes sense for you. Maybe it is writing that book. Maybe it is just getting a notebook and a nice little pen, right? To write in your nice little notebook your ideas down that you otherwise would post on social media and feed some data centers that they then could analyze with AI and make a book out of it. But why not write it down in your own offline piece of paper and make your own book about this, right? Instead of allowing others to exploit your ideas for you. Things like that. And waking up to that is very important, you know? The corporate world is obviously not our friends, right? So, and speaking that, abundance mandala, as you meditate upon this beautiful mandala, notice how its pulsating energy draws your attention to its light-filled center. Feel the frequencies and colors flow through your body, mind, and soul. Life is magical. Every moment is brimming with creativity and potential. Abundance is yours. Believe this and begin to see opportunities surrounding you. The energy of creation is inexhaustible, is forever within you and around you. So life should not be 9 to 5 and then at the weekend you have a day to be yourself. That is just not enough. And you don't need to be grandiose about it. The King of Pentacles shows up as a clarifier for the new beginning, but more in the sense that you're making stuff real that is important for you. Following your own light, giving that light, that which makes sense for you, loving attention. And then this is the happy camper. That's the little King of Pentacles, right? He's not wearing a crown. He's not sitting on a throne, but he has his 9 cups, his talents. They are connected to his heart space. He loves what he's doing. He's doing what he loves. And that what he's doing is meaningful to him. Right? That's why he's happy, but he's not wearing a crown. He's not sitting on a throne. He's not the King of Pentacles. Yet he is crystallizing something out by giving it loving attention. And if you do that, you're going to attract people who do the same. But if you behave like a wage slave or a yes person who's always subservient to the narcissist that you can never satisfy, right? You will never get to the point where you actually do something that makes you proud of yourself because it is a higher expression of yourself. Whether it's the book, whether it's just drawing, whether it's just fitness, sport, whatever, you know, whatever you do, it doesn't matter what it is, but it needs to be your thing and it brings you joy and happiness repeatedly. That's a good sign. That's a good indicator. And that is your divine God-given right? Not just for a few hours on the weekend, but every day. And a society that does not provide that is a very sick and dysfunctional society. And that is just how it is, right? Turn knowledge into wisdom. Right? You know this. We all know this. We all feel this. We all watched movies about it. But now it's time to act accordingly, right? No longer just shrug your shoulders and say, well, other people do this. Well, you can do that too. You just have to give it space. You know, why would you go to the company dinner? You don't get paid going to the company dinner. What the F, right? Why would you even consider doing such a thing? They don't do anything for you. They lay you off if a number says or indicates that they could make 1% more profit if they just kick you out. They will do that. Why would you want to eat with these people? You truly deserve your own love. By all means, love yourself. And this is a kind of, it's a, I don't know, maybe I'm in a little temper right now. I'm sorry, Pisces. this is a little too deep for now. You will meet the narcissist of your life in different forms, in different shapes. They are literally shape-shifting people, yeah, till you learn the lesson. Self-love, healthy boundaries, and not just communicating these boundaries, but you create discomfort. Or you just disengage and say, oh no, I'm not going to the company dinner, or, you know, why would I go skiing with these people who fucking exploit me? The universe is conscious. It's all energy, and energy is transformed through frequency. You take care of your own inner frequency. When you're down, force yourself to do something contrary to that. So I'm a little grumpy today, obviously. I'm sorry, Pisces. So I decided to make a reading, right? And what comes up is, there's the Seven of Swords, right? Seven of Swords, I said, is the narcissist of the tarot deck, right? It's the mindfuck energy, Seven of Swords. Unmindfucking yourself means to stand up for yourself, not behaving like the narcissist, but taking care of your little seedlings, of what makes sense to you. Whatever it is, give it loving attention. And don't think that if you just give 120% for the narcissist, for the toxic person, for the sick company, for whatever, and eventually they will recognize and be grateful for it. That's just not realistic, right? Do what you need to do to pay your bills. At this point in time, there's literally no chance of making it if you're a decent, honest human being. If you're completely retarded, fascist psychopath, you can make money and be successful. But if you're a decent, honest human being, it's virtually impossible to make it in this system. So why even try? Because the system is not designed, I say this again, for you to make it. The system is designed for you to die trying to make it. So do what you need to do, and then live a little, right? Do something that makes sense for you. And there is potential in that, right? That's all I got. Pisces, I know it was intense. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it, and check out the yearly reading. The yearly reading is much more zen and chill and positive. This was a little on the edge, I know, but I'm not going to apologize for it. It is what it is, and it's the summer 2026, and in this summer 2026, you're finally beginning to follow your own light. And you're finally beginning to respect your own light, and that will give birth to something beautiful. You're working on what makes sense to you, not what other people tell you that would make sense to you. Because it doesn't. It makes sense to them, and it's usually exploitative. So you're going to shine, and you don't need to be grandiose about it, right? You just do what you love. Love what you do. Do that. No, but I am my friend. See you soon. Ciao.